today's action learning session. I'm really glad to see you all here, and I will be your coach for this meeting. As a reminder, my role is not to participate in solving the problem, but rather to guide the process. Ensure we follow the structure and help us to focus and respectful of time. So now to begin, I would like each of you to briefly share a real life challenge you are currently facing, either in your personal life or at work. Well, then choose one of these issues to explore more deeply in today's session. Please remember to keep it brief, just enough for us to understand and mind idea. Let's start.
Okay, thanks, Jorge. Lately, I've been struggling with time management at work. I have several projects running simultaneously, and I often feel like overwhelmed. I try to stay on top of things, but I frequently miss deadlines or have crossed the rush to meet them, which causes a lot of stress.
I can relate it to that. Deciding online, I spend most of my time alone in a front of the computer, and it is easy to get distracted or feel disconnected from what I learn.
My current challenge is related to teamwork. I work with colleagues from different countries and cultural backgrounds, and sometimes the communication styles clash or lead to communication, clash or lead to misunderstandings. It's affecting collaboration efficiency in my team.
For me, I've been thinking about starting a small business. I have a lot of ideas, but I feel lost about where to begin. I don't know what step to take first or how to create a realistic plan that I can follow.
So thank you all for sharing such meaningful and honest challenge. They are all valid and worth exploring. For today's session, however, we are going to focus on Luna's issue for exploring around the management signs that something many of us is can learn from. So Luna, that made your problem owner for this session. I will now hand this over to you. Please give us a bit more detail about your situation, and the rest of the group will support you by asking open-ended questions.
Okay. Okay, thanks everyone. So to elaborate a bit more, I work in fast-paced to pace environments where new tasks come in constantly. I try to make lists and plan my day, but I often end up like reaching to the latest request or interruption. And I also tend to overthink tasks, which slow me down. And it feels like I never really like finish anything, and I leave work with the sense to with that I haven't accomplished enough.
Thanks for being so open, Luna. I am curious, what kind of thing usually drive your during your workday? Are they external interruption, or do you find you mind wondering?
That's a great question. I actually both get distracted by email messages and unexpected texts from coworkers, but I also sometimes procrastinated or over focus on the field. I'll spend an hour of something that probably didn't need that much attention, and then I'm behind on other work.
Have you tried any specific time management techniques? For example, do you use tools like time blocking, prioritization matrices, or productivity ads?
I've tried some things like to-do lists or reminders, but I'm not consistent. I start like using them, but then I abandon them after a few days when the things get like chaotic again.
That sounds frustrating. What do you think is stopping you from sticking with those tools or systems?
Honestly, I think it is a mix of perfectionist, and full boundaries. I try to do everything just right and struggling to say no when the people ask for help, even when I don't really have the time.
That makes sense. So, if you had the ability to change on one part of your current habit or mindset, what would you focus on first?
I think I like to get a better prioritizing what is important, not just what is urgent. I also need to find a way to be focused and not feel guilty when I say no or push something to later.
When you say you want to prioritize better, do you have any specific goals or outcomes you want to achieve? Like finishing tasks earlier, reducing stress, or getting more time for yourself?
All of the above, really, but especially reducing the constant stress and sense of falling behind. I want to feel like I'm not the control of my time again.
So thank you, Luna, for sharing so honestly, and thank you all for the insightful and supportive questions. Now let's move to the final part of the session where we reflect and identify actions. So Luna, based on this discussion and the question, you have been asked for what action or steps do you feel ready to take moving forward?
Okay, well, first, I'm going to try to time blocking again, but this time I'll be more realistic about how long things take. I'll plan for breaks and interruptions too. And second, I'll review my tasks for me and identify exactly what ones of the truly important and not just urgent. And I'll commit to checking my email only at the scheduled times and instead of constantly.
That's a strong plan, Luna. I use Trello or Notion for organizing my days. Maybe experimenting with one of those could help you stay on track too.
I will add that scheduling short breaks, if even just 5 minutes every hour, helps me avoid burnout and come back refreshed. Maybe that's something to build into your time blocking.
And if it's helpful, maybe try setting a boundary with coworkers about when you're available for unexpected requests. It doesn't have to be rigid, just something to protect your focus.
Wonderful suggestion. Now, before we close, let's take a moment for to reflect on the session itself. What do you think worked well in this meeting?
I like how we focused on asking open questions instead of jumping in with solutions. It created a space for Luna to explore the issue himself.
Uh, I appreciated the structure. It kept us all engaged and made it feel very purposeful, not like just another conversation.
It surprised me how powerful good question can be. Luna clearly discovered a lot of on her own just turn the discussion.
So, excellent insights. Now, is there anything we think could be improved for next time?
Okay, maybe I could be come with a bit more clarity of, for example, about how my week usually goes, and that might have helped the group ask even more focused questions.
So that's a good point, Luna, and also part of the learning process. Thank you all for your open curiosity and respect during today's session. This was a great example of action learning in action. Well done, everyone.